start the timer. And there we go. Okay. BlazeBlue Cross Tag Battle has been announced with the release date and a new DLC character. But more importantly, their DLC plan has been laid out and people are not happy. This is reported off of Destructoid.com, written by Nick Valdez. BlazeBlue Cross Tag Battle coming in June adds Ruby's Blake Badana? I think I'm pronouncing that right. As DLC. Launch roster of 20 with 20 characters planned as DLC. Arc System Works has a habit of building up hype until the perennial other shoe drops and brings us down to earth. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ, it seems rather than release a base game with a small roster and release expansions over time, the titular, BlazeBlue is an example, BlazeBlue Cross Tag Battle will start with a sizable roster and has major DLC plans down the line. The first of which is Ruby's Black Bandana, who fans most likely wanted to see in the main game. She's one of the 20 DLC fighters planned, teased by the silhouettes you can view in the gallery, and the game will launch with 20 characters, which have all been revealed at this point. And here's the schedule, the DLC schedule. DLC character all in one pack. DLC character Blake Badana. DLC character set volume 1 question mark and question mark. DLC character set volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then just the last slot is DLC character. And I'll put the link in the chat for you guys when you read the whole article. But so here's the thing about this. And if Greg was here, he will be defending this idea of having half the cast of DLC characters for this fighting game as a way to, like, you know, you got to make money somehow. You know, it's not magically, and he'll be the one on taking that side. But he's not here.
So fuck him.
No, but like, so when I read this and when I looked into it, like, for me, and I'm thinking on both sides, both as a competitive but also as a casual person. The game is gonna have 20 characters from the offset, and you know, that's awesome. That's a really good starting point. It's a really good core of characters to play off of. And then, you know, the more I thought about it, as far as, like, you know, it from what I've understood, the price right now, for, at least the list in Japan, like, it's over here, translation to like $40-$50 is what the game's going to be when it comes out next year. So my question that came up, I was thinking about, is like, what are the price of these DLC characters? If they are reasonably priced, I think it will be okay. I don't think people will be too much up in arms about it. But if these characters are, say, like Capcom levels right now, which I believe is like $8 a character, you're going to be spending more than $40 afterwards, possibly up to $100, possibly up to, you know, whatever cost they may be. Part of me, it just does not feel right that half of the characters are locked behind a paid wall for this game. And, you know, it kind of reminds me of how it was Street Fighter X Tekken with the same situation where they're all on disc. Hey, Greg's in chat.
Hey, Greg's in chat. He gets to listen to me destroy what would be his argument.
Yeah. So Alex, what's your take on this? Like, what's your hot take on this ideology of having paid content?
So here's the thing. I'm not a fighting game guy. Like, I've played them very casually in the past with the buddies or at the arcade when I was younger. But I'm not a huge fighting game person. I think, honestly, for people like me, this is actually a really interesting way to try to get us involved in it. Because, like, if I wanted to go out and buy, like, say I bought the base game, we'll say it's $40 or $50. $50, I buy the base game, I get 20 characters, and I get to see if I actually like the game. If I actually like the game, then it's like when the new characters start coming out, I'm more likely to go ahead and do it. Whereas if you're, you know, it's like, oh, you're going to have, say, 16, like, you know, 10 characters total, 5 and 5, whatever. That's not a whole lot of experience to be able to, like, see if I actually enjoy the game. If I can go, the more characters you have up front gives you a better basis for people to actually launch off of and say, it's, you know what, it's worth paying this extra money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're concerned about how much of it's going to be. I agree. That is a big concern. Like $8 a pop for a character, that's a lot to me. That's a lot. I could see. I mean, me personally, I could justify to myself $5 a character, but
Yeah.
eight starts pushing it because it's like, okay, because I always relate it to, well, how much do I get paid per hour? If I get paid per hour $8, if I buy 2 characters, that's more than an hour's work for me at my day job. That's hard to justify of like, okay, well, how much time am I actually going to spend on those characters? Am I going to get my money's worth out of those characters? Maybe you could do it like, you know, if there's a certain character, if you want to buy single characters, it's a little bit more expensive. And then if you buy a pack, it's like a reduced cost. So if you wanted to do like, say, 8 for a single character, and then if you buy a pack, it's 5 per character. So that gives you 15, basically saying that the third character is free to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think something like that might work out well to try and really bring people into playing.
Yeah, I think the other thing to point out is that I think for a lot of people who are just casually, you know, interested into the game or maybe want to buy it, more than likely, like if you're casually want to play it, like it's probably best to wait until like the grand like what they call it, the collector's edition comes out and like has every character in it, a la, you know, Injustice. So like, you know, people can definitely wait if they do that. If they don't, then that kind of sucks. On the competitive side, when it comes to this, it really, I mean, people are gonna have to buy it and have to bite the bullet, and it's gonna suck for a lot of those people. But again, it's gonna come down to price with these DLC characters, and they have, because like the thing about it is that if you're playing out the base game and you're trying to learn specific matchup or characters that you may not have access to, then it's on you to kind of figure that out. And for a lot of people on the competitive side, like they've already been out there crying, like this sucks. Like,
yeah. I agree that it kind of sucks on the competitive side, but what most people don't realize, what people don't remember, is if I'm assuming that they're going to be a U.S. based competitor, because that's where my tax code information is coming from. For them, if they're in the U.S. and they pay U.S. taxes, if they buy those characters and this is their job, this is what they make their money in, that's a tax write-off for them. It's not as bad as people seem to think, where it's like, oh, well, you're going to have to buy all that just to be competitive. They're still just going to write it off. Who cares? Like, it's not going to be that bad.
Right. And again, it all comes down to how much these characters cost. So we'll see in the future when that happens next year. But it's...
Well, the interesting part, too, is they have the all-in-one pack listed. Is that all the characters for one price?
There are no details on that yet.
See, that's the interesting thing I see there, because they have it set. They have like 6 different sets. They have 2 different characters by themselves, and then they have the all-in-one. The all-in-one literally includes every single character, and it gives you a reduced price because you're buying it all at once. It could not be as bad as people think.
Possibly. More than likely, we'll find out more information when it comes out next year. Greg, we can definitely do that. We can do a switch. Because I'm about to say, like, we have no Overwatch minis for today. But yeah, all right, yeah, we can do that. So for those wondering, on the podcast, Greg is going to come at the very end, tail end of this, and join me to kick Alex out later on. So
dicks.
Moving
Greg,
on.
just send me your notes. I'll do it.
Moving on to our next topic as I get this set up real quick. Okay, so there has been some hints. Actually, this was